Today we're going to be talking about the best drills that you can do to help you throw a perfect spiral. This first drill is going to be something called our wrist flick warm-up. So whenever you throw a spiral, obviously everybody knows as a quarterback, you want to flick your wrist. You don't want your wrist to be facing up, or your palm facing up, and come across. You don't want your wrist to necessarily be facing like down. You want it to be like slightly outward. You want to try to turn the top of your thumb over, and that's the proper flick that will help you get spin on the ball. That's what coaches mean when they say, hey, flick your wrist. So this is a great warm-up exercise that you can do with a partner. Your partner literally needs to stand maybe 5 yards away, and all you're gonna do is you're just gonna have this ball. You're gonna hold it elbow even with your armpit. You should be able to see the top nose of the ball. It should be like even with your forehead, I would say. And all you're gonna do is just toss this ball to your partner and flick your wrist. The goal is to let the ball roll off of your index finger and middle finger. Those are your two spiral fingers, and you are going to flick and try to turn the top of your thumb down at your partner. So we're gonna show you how this should look full speed. Also, fellas, if you're a quarterback or wide receiver and would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches, we are going to be coming out to 15 different cities across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps this year. So check out that very first link in the description below, guys, if you're interested and would like to train with us. We're going to be coming out to San Francisco, California, Orlando, Florida. Then we'll be heading out to Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Las Vegas, Nevada, Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, Newark, New Jersey. Then we'll be coming out to Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and finishing off our tour in Los Angeles, California. So guys, want some more information? Very first link in that description below. Let's get back to these drills. Now this next drill is going to work on a concept for your spiral called extension. So when I flick my wrist as a quarterback, I obviously don't want to flick my wrist and have this like bend of my elbow, because that would be considered short arming the ball. When you release the ball, you want to flick your wrist, and you want your wrist, elbow, and shoulder to be extended out in front of the target. Your wrist flick should be about 6 inches. That's where your wrist should be, in front of your front stride. So this is a great drill to help with that. Now, this is going to be called our towel no stride drill. And so to get to that extension point, you guys, you need to be able to have your hips to bring the arm through. Whenever you throw, you take a step to the target, your shoulders rotate back, and then when you're in this position, your hip rotation brings your arm through. And if we can extend with that type of hip rotation, that ball will get more rotations, because that is something called torque. So this drill helps us produce torque. Now the towel, we use this to help us with that extension. If you hear when you throw how you want to hold the towel, make it as thin as possible, put your middle finger over the top of the towel and let it flap down like this, almost like it looks like a bird, right? If you extend properly, you hear a whoosh of the towel. If you don't extend, you don't hear anything with the towel. So this drill is a way to make sure that you are extending and using your hips properly in the throw. So your front foot is going to be open like you've already stepped to the target. Your weight is going to be loaded on this back leg. Your arms and your hands are already going to be back like you started the top of your motion. And all you're going to do, hips, just bring the towel through, and we are snapping and extending right when my wrist gets in front of my face, and my wrist should be almost 6 inches in front of my front foot. So we're gonna show you how this should look from a different angle, full speed. And when it comes to throwing a good spiral as well, your grip on the football matters the most. Now, every single quarterback has a different grip when it comes to the threads, right? My grip is probably the more like traditional grip, where your middle finger is over the top of the thread and your pinky finger is in this little groove right here. Some guys maybe have it a little lower. Some guys maybe have these fingers a little higher. I'm not gonna mess too much with that. But the one thing about your grip that you shouldn't do as a quarterback for a spiral is have your palm on the ball. A lot of QBs will over grip it, have their palm touching the bottom part of the ball. Guys, there needs to be like a small gap of space between your palm and the football, and that allows you to keep the ball in your fingers, so you can let it roll off your index and middle finger, which are your spiral fingers that can help with that wrist flick. So this is a great drill to strengthen your hand, because a lot of QBs put their palm all over the ball because they have a weak grip, they have weak hands. So this drill can strengthen your hands, strengthen your fingers to let that ball stay off your palm, and you'll be more comfortable with it. Because a lot of QBs, when they make that adjustment, they're not very comfortable with it. It feels like the ball has no control, and that totally makes sense, but this drill will help. So I call these tiny catches around a football. Simple drill you could literally do in your room, but you need a football, and all you're gonna do is, without your palm hitting the ball, you're gonna work your hand all the way around this football, you guys. And so you're gonna do that for about 100 reps on each hand. You gotta do it on your left hand too, as you don't wanna have like a super strong wrist, all kinds of veins on the right side, and then your left side looks awful. So make sure you do this on both hands. I would say 3 sets of 100 reps on each hand to avoid that ball from hitting your palm. Now this next drill is gonna be called our throw reset reset drill to prevent a wild front side when you throw, which can make your spiral almost go like sideways and cut to the left or right. So if you're a QB who when you throw, you finish with your palm like up and then you put it back down, but when you snap and extend, your wrist is coming up. Generally what that's from is QBs who take this front shoulder and they rip it open way to the left, and what that does is that will bring your arm wide outside your frame. This isn't the good type of sidearm where you're throwing around somebody. It's a wild sidearm and your arm rips across your frame. So this drill can help with that. So all you're doing is you're gonna set up, need a partner or a target maybe about 10 yards away, and you're just gonna step and throw, but as soon as you flick your wrist and finish, you're gonna flip back and get back to balance. Mentally what that does, or subconsciously what that does, is that doesn't allow my front shoulder to be over here, because it's gonna be a really uncomfortable flip back to your base. So again, guys, we'll show you how this should look full speed, but you just throw, reset quick to help with that front side staying stable, and we could just really focus on snapping, extending to get that good spin.